And joining us now live is forensic criminologist and death investigator Dr. Ron Martinelli. Thank you for shedding some light on this situation this afternoon for us. You are an expert in these criminal cases, many aspects of it. You not only have medical, had there been a body, you also have the expertise on suicide. So let's just start with the fact that investigators are being transparent. There is no body. How much harder is this case as it gets in front of a jury?
Well, so far, based on what I've seen and what I've heard, and of course, law enforcement, typically does not share everything, with the public, and there are many good reasons for that. The primary reason is an ongoing criminal investigation, so they're going to keep their cards very close to their chest. Key words here is that it's a circumstantial case, and not to say that in the history of jurisprudence we have not convicted defendants on murder cases based on circumstantial evidence. Ultimately, this is a probable cause case that allows arrest so far. So we have to kind of remember what probable cause means. It's a higher standard of proof than reasonable suspicion, but basically you have to have specific articulable information, statements, facts, and circumstances, and if you can have forensic evidence that leads a reasonable investigator to believe that a person has committed a crime. So we have some circumstantial evidence. What they've talked about doesn't necessarily cause me to conclude that the case is very strong right now. And I'm not an attorney. I'm a homicide detective and investigator. But there are many things that we don't know. Classically, in a case like this, besides means, motive, and opportunity, and certainly all of those things are there. And of course, we're concerned about a missing .40 caliber pistol, and we don't have a body. But it's the interview statements, at least one that I listened to, which was with your news service, where Larry made some comments that as a homicide guy I would have found very interesting, and to delve into far more with regards to first of all, the relationship. So they had a difficult relationship for the last year. There were certainly marital problems. And we have to remember that this is a couple. This is a married couple with 3 children, and the victim in this case is the mother of the children. And so you have to think about what a mother's relationship is with the children, and also the father's relationship, and compare and contrast that against the statements that he's made.
You're leading me to a very good point in this case, Dr. Martinelli, because you're also a certified suicide investigator. So on the very flip side, looking at it from a 180 and a defense point of view, they would be trying to perhaps shed light as plausibility for suicide, but there's no proof of life. And as a certified suicide investigator, where do you think that could fall?
Well, I've done many of these, and so the first thing that we would do with forensic psychology, we would do something referred to as an SRA, a suicide risk assessment. We would look at about 14 different points that people that are suicide, not only attempters, but in this case, a suicide completer. If we're going down that road of suicide, did Maya have any of the 14 points that leads to suicide, in suicidal ideations? So far, I'm not hearing anything with regards, but we don't have a deep background. It's not covered in the news, and it's certainly not covered in law enforcement. One of the things that people like myself look for, besides forensic evidence, is we look at issues of what's referred to as proprietary interest. What does that mean? What the suspect takes from the crime scene, what the suspect leaves at the crime scene, and the way the crime scene is manipulated. So we have to look at those issues. One of the things that's very interesting is the cell phone has been determined to have been at the house. Of course, they're going to take the cell phone with the GPS, they're going to triangulate, and they're going to ping that phone, and they're going to try to put together every place where that phone was and get time and date stamps on that. Mm-hmm. So, that could be problematic for the defendant Larry in this case. The fact that the vehicles are not gone. The fact that none of her personal property is gone. The fact that she didn't touch her, financial accounts. All of that stuff, the phone obviously is objective evidence. The fact that nothing was taken from the house of value, that's objective evidence. But again, so far, a circumstantial case. Again, we don't have a body.
So much to look at, 9 months of an investigation, so much to parse through, and we haven't even begun this trial. But we appreciate your expertise, Investigator Dr. Ron Martinelli. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
You're welcome. This case is going to continue, so optimistically we hope that we find more as the case proceeds.
That would be very nice, and if the public could help as well, maybe with more information that will come to light. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.